2 years ago, Saxon released a covers album called Inspirations, which I reviewed on my channel. I thought the album was okay. I didn't give it a really high score. For me, I thought it was very safe with their song choices. They chose songs that had been covered by so many different artists like Immigrant Song, Painted Black, and Paperback Writer. So when I heard the news that Saxon was putting together another covers album, it got me interested because I thought they made some good song choices, ones you don't hear very often, and I think for this reason, I got a little more interested in this album. So that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We'll go through the tracks, I'll tell you what I thought of each of the covers, and we'll find out if this is a better than the first one. So the first song, We Gotta Get Out of This Place, originally by The Animals. The song I've always liked since I was very young. The song has this infectious bass line. I think Saxon took this to a new level because at first the song comes off like an AC/DC type of song. It just has that party rock and roll type of sound. But when the chorus kicks in, it sounds more like 70s glam rock. I thought they did a really good job with the song. I like the guitar playing. They use a lot of distortion and dissonance, and it kind of gave it a psychedelic feel. So it was a good opening track. Next is The Faith Healer by the Sensational Alex Harvey Band. So this was the one song on the album I was not familiar with. It seemed very new to me. My first impression was that it was like an AC/DC type of song again. And they also played these wind instruments in the background that kind of reminded me of, I guess, an Australian band for that reason. This is a slow building song. I really like the guitar riff right before the first chorus. It was traditional heavy metal, and the song seemed like a progressive rock song from the 70s, and it reminded me of a band like Styx. So as I'm listening the first time, I kind of had to like pause the song, and I had to investigate like who is this Alex Harvey band, because I really did not know them. So I found out they were a Scottish band. They were active in the 70s, and they played like glam rock and hard rock. So there were some similarities with AC/DC, as I mentioned before. I thought the song was interesting. It's a longer song, about 6.5 minutes. It droned on for a little bit. It felt a little repetitive, but it was interesting. There was like one line where it says like, can I put my hands on you? I think that reminded me of like AC/DC. I had the song, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl, in my head. And you're hearing that. I know they're completely different, but it was interesting. Next is From the Inside, which was originally by Alice Cooper. I thought this was an interesting choice because From the Inside is an underrated album by Alice Cooper. It came out in the late 70s. Now, I'm a big Alice Cooper fan, so I knew about the song and the album. Thought it was very good. But they came off as a metal band covering Alice Cooper. They kept that haunting quality that Alice has, and they also kept that 70s rock feel. So it was a good choice. Something different. I never heard any other band cover this song, so it was a good choice. Next is Chevrolet by ZZ Top. This was different because it was another one that wasn't an obvious choice. The song was released back in 1972 by ZZ Top. It was from the Rio Grande Mud album. Back then, ZZ Top played blues rock, but they always had this dirty, distorted sound on the guitar, and it translated well into what Saxon were trying to do. I like that they didn't like turn it into a metal song. They just kept the distortion turned up a little bit, and they retained that 70s blues rock sound that ZZ Top were known for. This is before the 80s with Eliminator and all that. And also Biff Byford has a really good voice for this type of song. He has that like raspy voice, similar to like Billy Gibbons. Then track number 5, Substitute by The Who. This one came back in 1964. I thought it was a good choice. They didn't really make it into a metal song. They just add a little more distortion, and then it kind of like was very faithful to the original. So it sounded more like a 60s rock song. And that's what it is. I thought it was a good choice for the album. Maybe like a little bit of a safe choice, but again, this is what the band wants to do. It's called More Inspirations, the songs that inspired them to do what they're doing. So it's a good cover. I think I like a few of the other songs better, but it's good. And number 6 is Gypsy by Uriah Heep. This was a really good one because it's a song from Uriah Heep. It came out in 1970 from their debut. It was right at the birth of heavy metal. I know Uriah Heep has been very influential in heavy metal, not as much as Black Sabbath, but they did play a part. But Saxon turned this, they did a good job. They turned on the distortion and they played these like staccato riffs, and they really made the song work well. So it's a lesser known track. They probably could have played something like they didn't go with Easy Living, they didn't go with something from Demons and Wizards. They went with this one. It's a good choice, and it's actually a heavy song, so it works very well. Track number 7, Man on Silver Mountain by Rainbow. Back when Rainbow had Richie Blackmore and Ronnie James Dio, this one came out in 1975. The first time I heard the original, I thought it was released like sometime in the 80s because it has that classic heavy metal sound. This was a really good choice. It's a hard song to cover because, you know, Ronnie James Dio, he's like one of the best singers of all time. Not really easy to match his vocals, but they turned up the distortion a little bit. They made it a little heavier, and they made it sound fresh and modern. So they did a really good job on the song, and I thought it was a really good choice. Track 8 is Detroit Rock City by Kiss. This is a safe choice. It's a good song. It's Kiss, but they were very influential in heavy metal in the 70s. You know, the album is based on inspirations or bands that got them to get together and play music, so I understand that. It's a decent cover. They could have made it a little heavier, but if I compared it to the original, I like the original better, but it's not a bad song. Track number 9, Razamanaz, a Nazareth cover. This is a good choice because the original song was released in 1973. One of the lesser known songs from the band Nazareth. And they, in my opinion, are a very underrated band, also very influential in bringing heavy metal into the 70s. So they did a good cover of this. It's very energetic, it's fast-paced, and overall, very good song. The thing that stands out on this one is the guitar solo. It's a really powerful, shredding guitar solo, but otherwise, not much more to say. It was really good. And track number 10, Tales of Rave, Ulysses by Cream. This was my favorite song on the album because they took a song released in 1967. It predates heavy metal. It's not heavy, it's more psychedelic rock, but it's a type of song that kind of like predates a song like Iron Maiden's Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, a big like epic rock song, and they took the song and they made it heavier. They added some distortion, they used the wah-wah effects on the guitar, and this was a really good cover. I think this was my favorite on the album. So that's all for this album. The band's not reinventing the wheel. They're playing songs they enjoyed and songs that were inspired, but that inspired them when they first started becoming a band. That's all it is. A continuation of the first album. Like I said, I probably like this one a little better because some of the song choices were ones that you don't hear covered that much by other bands. So that's what I think. Saxon is a really good band. I think they're one of the few legacy bands still putting out really high quality albums. I mean, Carpe Diem was very good, but the one before that, Thunderbolt, I thought that was an excellent album. And this band, I think, is better making original music, but they can do covers. All bands like them. They're fun. It's what the band wants to do, so they're recognizable. So it's an easy listen. My score is 7.5 out of 10. It's a good listen, nothing more, nothing less. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.